Welcome to Valuistics Part 3, Spreadsheets and Databasing. I'm David Braun. A database is an organized list of data. The purpose of a database is to store the data, allow for retrieval of the data, which we call querying. The structure of most databases are in columns and rows, and like where you see there, column A, row 1 is the number or the record number, and that's how the computer is able to find all data. For example, C6 is the number 17. Types of sales databases: multiple listing services, the tax assessor's office, third-party providers, private co-op databases. Multiple listing services. What is the purpose of most all MLS databases? Well, the purpose of a multiple listing database is to help them sell properties and get properties closed. The appraiser gets access to that database because it's hard to close without an appraisal, and they would like to help us close, so they make the data available to appraisers. Some good features of a multiple listing service database is allowing the exporting of many sales to a spreadsheet, and having a feature that allows querying based on drawing a line or rectangle around a specific geographical area. Those are good features, and over the last few years most all databases have these features. Why would a sales organization be reluctant to allow many records to be exported to a spreadsheet? Well, the answer to that is multiple listing services were very protective of their data, and they know once it can be easily downloaded, it can be shared and distributed. And most MLSs, to get access to their data, you have to sign an agreement that gives you specific instances when you can share data and when you can't share data. So you may have to ask your multiple listing service if you can or cannot share data. For example, you may get an order on the telephone says, I just would like some comps pulled and sent to me in so and so neighborhood. And so if you print out MLS sheets that have prices and other information that may be private and send it, you may or may not be in violation of your MLS agreement. Databases in the works. The National Association of Realtors, NAR, is starting a large database, and it'll be very modern, and I'm sure they'll set up the fields and define the fields in such a way to make it very useful. Fannie Mae is also working on a database, and some of the changes on how they want you to enter data on the form is so that they can in fact take the data off the form and put it into the various cells of the database. So the availability of accessing reliable data will improve dramatically over the next 5 years. So information is when the data is organized in such a way to begin to reveal patterns in the data. A geographical information system, GIS, is an example of the metamorphosis of random data to information. Spreadsheet is a computer application which facilitates the organization and analysis of data. It can serve as a database. In Microsoft Excel, one worksheet can hold over 16,000 columns of data for over 1 million records. Spreadsheets have numerous built-in features. Most can be customized by the user via macros. So a spreadsheet is a very powerful piece of software for the appraiser and other real estate professionals. Scrubbing data. Scrubbing data is the process of converting individual pieces of data to a form or format that can be analyzed. Here's an example. Regression analysis requires all data to be in numeric form. So if you come down down a column and it has, for example, number of bathrooms, and someone has typed in the word 3, then you would convert it to the numeric form of 3, and that would constitute scrubbing the data. So scrubbing is not a complicated process, but you need to know what you're trying to do, and then you can go in and try to get the data in a more useful format. Tip for new users. If you create tables in a spreadsheet, don't leave an entire row or column blank. You know, some people do that to space them out. The built-in features won't work. As soon as it hits an empty column, it starts, or an empty row, it stops, or an empty row or column, either one, it will stop. So don't have any empty columns and rows. If it's a little tight, just expand the column width and the row height. Databasing. What can you do to learn more about the specific database that you have access to? Well, number one is, I would suggest that, especially if you use an MLS that you're going to export to Excel, I would learn how to make custom searches so you don't have to export it into Excel and then immediately go in and delete 30 columns. I would only bring in the columns that I want. This takes a little bit of time the first time you do it, but once you set that search up, you just simply say export, and maybe you put analysis, and you put export analysis search, and then it only brings down the columns of data that you want. So be sure and learn how to do custom searches. You may also want to be sure you understand what the data fields actually mean. If there's one up there that says date, what date is it? Is it closing date? Is it the date of the listing? And most services will provide you a definition of what each field means. Spreadsheets. What can you do to improve in spreadsheets? Well, if you're new to spreadsheets, the first thing you want to do is go take a 4 to 6 hour Excel class at your local community college. They usually break those into 2 days, so you're there maybe 2 or 3 hours one day, 2 or 3 hours the next day, so it's not a big deal as far as workflow. Number two is, I would take the Appraisal Institute 1-day seminar on spreadsheets. I'm close to an expert in Excel, and I went and took that class, and I was very impressed with the class. So, but don't take it before you take the class at your community college. Take a general class, then go take the Appraisal Institute 1-day seminar on spreadsheets. Then practice. Use your spreadsheet anytime an assignment allows for it. So anytime you need to be in the spreadsheet, don't hesitate to flip over there and go to work. And then we're back to the same questions that I want to keep reiterating that we hope will be answered at the end of this series of videos. How will valuistics impact the appraisal profession? How far am I behind the curve? What should I be doing to catch up? Thanks.